We've been watching my series on narcissistic mothers and daughters and the dynamic between the two, and I've been discussing Gypsy Rose and her future. So this is, I think, the fourth video in the series, and in this series I want to talk about jealousy specifically because there was an AI generated image that Gypsy posted to her private Facebook account of what she thought her daughter would look like as a tween. I have that image here and it says, I wonder if I look back on this post years from now, how accurate will it be? We will see just how smart AI is. This is disturbing on a few levels because number one, the child is not even born yet. There should be absolutely no reason why Gypsy is thinking about what her daughter is going to look like as a teenager. That speaks to some very insecure thoughts that Gypsy has of her own. So she's projecting those insecurities on her unborn child and is already placing some sort of a high expectation on how she should look to the public. I have two children, and while they look a lot alike now, whenever they were born, they didn't. But I couldn't imagine being pregnant and thinking about what they would look like at 11 years old when they hadn't even been born yet. I find that a little disturbing. Her narcissism and her insecurities about her own self-image is coming out, and it's going to be really hard for her child to sort of live up to the expectations of how Gypsy wants her to look. My guess is she would like her to look like this image on my right hand side. But what if she doesn't? What if she doesn't look like that and she actually looks more like Gypsy with cross-eyed and has a lot of health issues like Gypsy did? Is she gonna love her daughter less because she doesn't look like the image that she had already in her mind of what she wanted her to look like? This child already has very unreal expectations placed on her when it comes to how Gypsy perceives Aurora is supposed to be like fixing her relationship with Ken, giving them some sort of hope for the future in their relationship and how they had like broken homes whenever they were growing up. And she's already put a lot of expectation on this child to kind of keep the family together. We also know that she has put a lot of expectation on this child to perform so that she can make content and make money. Now she is adding extra pressure on this child to come out and look a certain way. This is not healthy. And I know everyone else is trying to sexualize this photo. I'm going to stay away from that because I think it's more important to talk about how she is putting all these unreal expectations on the image of what she wants her daughter to look like, and how if that doesn't happen, what is going to happen to Aurora? Is she going to be punished because she doesn't look the way that Gypsy thought she was going to look? Is she going to be taunted? Is she going to be bullied by her own mother? Narcissistic mothers often feel jealousy towards their daughter's beauty because it threatens their fragile sense of superiority and self-worth. So what happens if she comes out and she's prettier than her mother? As a child of a narcissistic mother who did grow up to be, I wouldn't say prettier, I would just say there was definitely some competition in the looks department. I was very thin while my mom was growing up. She was a little bit thicker. That's just how things were. So there was a lot of taunting and teasing to me about my own appearance because I was so thin. So is that something that Aurora is going to experience as she gets older? For a narcissist, especially one like Gypsy Rose, her entire self-worth is on external validation. And if Aurora was to get validation more than Gypsy, it can stir up a lot of feelings of competition, as I was just saying. The dynamic kind of gets threatened because now Gypsy is no longer the center of attention and the attention has been shifted to Aurora. Most narcissistic mothers crave being the center of attention and being admired by everyone in their circle. So if that shifts, there could be some trouble with how her daughter is then treated. I know in my own personal experience, whenever I was getting more attention than my mother would, she would say things that would kind of belittle me in front of others to kind of make me appear as not as important as she was. So then I would feel badly about myself and I would remove myself from the situation because she was taunting me, ridiculing me, and belittling me about something in front of others. Another thing that could happen is Gypsy's daughter Aurora could be born completely normal without any health issues at all, and that could also bring up some insecurities in Gypsy, and that could cause her to be resentful of her own child. I know it sounds wild, but narcissistic parents do not think like people who have empathy. They view everyone as competition. I talked in one video about how narcissistic mothers will sabotage their own children, and I can see that very well happening in Aurora's life. Like Gypsy not allowing her to partake in certain activities because she didn't get to partake in those activities, not allowing her to sleep over because at friend's house because Gypsy didn't get to do those certain things. So I could see there being a lot of resentment and her holding her daughter back from experiencing life because of what Gypsy went through in her own life. Now, we all know that Gypsy was not abused by her mother. I personally think, and let me say this very clearly, in my own personal opinion, I believe that Gypsy was the one who was physically, verbally, emotionally, and mentally and psychologically abusing her own mother. I can see her doing the exact same things to Aurora. I can also see Gypsy holding a lot of resentment towards Aurora if, for whatever, Ken does in fact leave Gypsy to be a single mother. I'm not saying that I don't think that Ken should leave. I think Ken needs to do whatever is safe for him. Gypsy is not a safe person to be in a relationship with, so he needs to take care of himself and exit the relationship as safely as possible with parameters in place to make sure that he is exiting in a way that is not going to cause harm to him or to anyone else in his family. And I believe that if this child is really Ken's and they don't pursue a closed adoption, which I don't think that she will because she's not going to give up her meal ticket, I think that it would be in the child's best interest to be raised somewhere far away from Gypsy and her family of enablers. So if Aurora does become, smarter, more popular, or anything else that Gypsy did not experience, there could be some enmeshment and Gypsy kind of putting herself into her own daughter's life to feel like she's a part of the crowd. I remember my mom like always wanting to hang out with me and my friends, and it was kind of embarrassing. Like, go do what you're gonna do and leave me and my friends alone. Anyways, I know that this video was a little all over the place. Somebody else did ask me about how I felt about Dee Dee and if Dee Dee was also a narcissist, so I am going to go over that in another video. But if you like this video, make sure to hit the plus sign. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, and I'll see